Yay. Okay, it's recording. First of all, I want to thank you guys for hopping on tonight. Everybody quiet for 1 second. I'm going to hand this off. I'm sorry, you guys. We're like in the middle of, literally, if you saw, we were in the middle of a dirt road right now. So I'm super excited because I'm bringing Megan Holcomb on tonight. Holcomb. Why do I always do that with your last name, Megan? I think I pronounce it like 12 different ways half the time. I'm excited to have Megan on tonight because she is going to bring some fire to you guys, and she's also got some guests with her. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to hand it over to you, honey, so that you can start and I can mute out so that you can to make sense, because I'm not right now. Jeez.
Perfect.
Because I'm not making
it. Hopefully everyone can hear me good. I did want to talk about a couple things. I do not.
Oh, she's muted. Why is she muted? Yeah. Megan, you're muted. You have to mute yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
Perfect. You're unmuted. Okay, good. Technical difficulties, but I had the opportunity to spend last weekend with Lisa and a bunch of my other lovely friends in this business at Chas's house, and there is so many things that I took away. So if any of you ever get the opportunity to run for a retreat, I highly suggest it, because the status that we're in this world, human connection is so, so, so important. And just having the opportunity to connect with other thrivers and just have that human interaction really made a huge difference for me personally. And I know that I personally was feeling like I was in a rut, and I can guarantee you that a lot of you have felt the exact same way. And it's a combination of things. It is the season that we're in, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, but it's also like the state of the world. And I want to tell you how you can get outside of that rut, because I was feeling it. And then once I came out of that retreat, I felt like this new renewed sense. And I want to give you guys some of those takeaways that I had, because it's literally something that you can change in yourself. And it's literally only starts with you. Like, nobody can do it for you. There are people, yes, that can cheer you on, that are there to run alongside you, that are there to lift you up. But the decision is ultimately up to you. So it all stems from belief. And I didn't realize how much my influx was my belief system, and how that came to be, until I had a conversation with some girls around the campfire, and we were talking about, like, why is it that you think that you don't deserve this? Why is it that you think that you're not enough? And my personal belief issue stemmed from previous experiences that I've had in different companies, or just in different roles that I've been in like corporate America and stuff like that. And I started assigning that same belief to everything. So how many of you have spent the majority of your life, or a good portion of your life, like truly doubting yourself? Because if you're feeling that way, you are not the only one. I think we go through experiences. We have things that people tell us. We have circumstances that occur that we think we can't do this, or you lose belief in yourself. And the thing about beliefs are that they literally dictate every single aspect of your life. Because when you start believing something, good or bad, that dictates the habits that you are therefore putting into place. So if you're believing positively, your habits will end up being positive. If you're believing negatively, that will in turn lead to negative habits, unfortunately. So if you're struggling in your business right now, maybe you're in a planting season, and you're assigning your success to enrollments, and you're just like, oh, I suck at this. If you're struggling right now, there is a very strong chance that it is due to what beliefs you're telling yourself. I can't sign anybody. I just don't know what I'm doing. Nobody wants this. It's too expensive. I can't ever sign promoters. Like, whatever that sounds like, that is the belief that you're assigning. And the crazy thing about beliefs is that they're just stories that you're telling yourself that you determined as a fact. So maybe it's one person said somewhere along your path that you're not good at X, Y, and Z. So then you're just going to assign your belief to everything that you're not good at anything. Or someone, for me personally, the experience came along that I had an unfortunate, not so kind leader in this corporate job that I had. And she had told me, before they let me go, she told me, we just think you're not a good leader. So therefore, when I started my business, I assigned that as fact to my business. I'm not a good leader. I don't know what I'm doing. Are people going to like figure me out that I'm not a good leader? Because I had taken that one situation and I applied it to everything. And maybe there was a specific situation that's happened to you that you're now assigning to everything. Like maybe it was a relationship that you were in where someone told you you're just not good enough, I don't want you anymore, and therefore you're assigning that to every single thing that's happening to you. Well, then I'm not going to be good at this business, and I'm not going to be good at talking to people, and I don't have enough to offer others. You're assigning something that happened one time to you to everything that's happening to you in your life. And when you're having those negative beliefs, that often turns into fear, right? We get afraid to talk to people because we start thinking negatively about ourselves. What if they say this? What if they do this thing? What if I like mess up on my words when I'm doing a live video? What if nobody wants what I have to offer? What if people think I'm spammy? What if my friends and family like ostracize me because they're like, oh God, she's doing a business. So you're living in this fear bubble. The crazy thing about fear is that fear is just you assigning an outcome to something that hasn't even happened yet. And I had heard that term from somebody and I was like, that's such a good way to put it because it's so true. When you're in a state of fear. So if you could give me some of your fears, like drop them below, I can see your comments. I would love to hear what some of your fears are so that I can help you guys through that and help you see that you're just assigning an outcome to something that hasn't even occurred. You're just making up this story about something and you're assuming this is the outcome that's going to be. So talking to people, I see Deborah said talking to people. So is it that you are fearful when you are talking to somebody about the business or the products that you're not going to know what to say? So in that situation, you're fearing that you think this person's going to say something that you don't know how to answer. And that's, you have, the truth of the matter is you have no idea what that other person is going to say. And maybe that person is wide open to everything you have to offer because they're in a really bad situation themselves and they're just looking for some sort of solution that's going to help their problem. I saw fear of being successful. That is something that I dealt with for a really long time. So I can totally relate to that. And for me, it came from every time that I would reach this point of success in these different corporate jobs that I was a part of. So like managing a retail bank. I was a manager for a retail bank. And then I was a manager for a real estate company where there was tons and tons of different offices that I was responsible for. And I felt like every time that I got to this certain point of success, that like I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop because I assumed that in that one situation, because I was successful and then something happened, that was going to play out for every single scenario down the road. But the truth is, maybe the only reason those things didn't work out for me was because they weren't meant for me. I wasn't meant to be in that role. God had different plans for me. I'm a very religious person, so that is a big motivator in my life. But maybe that's why that didn't work out for me, because it wasn't the right fit. And if you're fearing in your business that you're not going to be successful, you literally have no proof that is fact. So it's just something that you're telling yourself inside your head. I'm not going to be successful at this because of, I think this, and this. I think when we are experiencing periods where we're not being successful, it's because our belief in ourselves is lacking, and confidence is a huge part of that. And when your beliefs are low, that determines your actions. Fear of failure. Okay. So failure, I think we all assign failure as a bad thing. We think that if we fail, that we're a failure. Like we place that scarlet letter on ourselves that we think because we made a mistake that we're ultimately a failure, when in fact it's just an opportunity for you to course correct. I have failed at many things, in this business included. If you look at my posts from when I first started, they're totally different from my posts now. And I had to fail through times where like it wasn't resonating with my audience very well, and I had to fail through conversations that didn't go so well. So I knew that, okay, that didn't work so well. What can I do differently in the future that's going to lead me to have a better success rate? Failure isn't a bad thing. If you listen to like any motivational speaker or whatever, they always talk about like failing your way to success. And I am a firm believer in that, because failure doesn't make you the failure. It just means the tactic that you used at that time did not work, and you just need to adjust it. Terrible with wording. And like I said, a lot of that stuff that stuff you get better with just doing self-development, maybe doing three-way messages with your upline who is more experienced, so that you can borrow the things that they say and then start implementing them into your business. That's why three-ways are so essential. I remember when I first started and Steph would say, like, throw me to three-ways, I had this weird fear attached to it, because again, I was assigning an outcome to something that had not even happened yet. I was like, oh, what are they going to think when I just throw them in this message? Like, they're going to think I'm so weird, and that we're all just trying to like attack them. And once I like put that whole thought process aside and just decided to do it, I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. And no, I did not have that outcome at all. People were much more open if you're framing it right. And it's ultimately just to help the person. If you're coming into it thinking you are trying to get the person, then it might come off that way. But if you come into it three-ways, I never know when to do a three-way. Okay. So I think that's something we could talk about too, because it's such a crucial piece to your business. So important. And it's not just because I always thought like I had this manager mentality, because I was in the banking industry and we had to like call managers over when there was a problem. And so that's what my belief that was assigned to that was. But in fact, it's really just another person that's there to support you, to support your customer or potential promoter or potential customer. And if you're framing it when you're putting them into a three-way, maybe it's they've expressed interest on your post, or maybe you started having a conversation and they're interested in trying a sample, then putting them into a three-way and just saying like, hey, Jessica, this is my friend Lisa. She's been thriving a lot longer than I have. And I just want to make sure that you have all the support possible in case I'm unavailable and you have questions. She will be here too to answer them for you. Simple as that. I think we overcomplicate it in our heads and we think of it as like we're going to get them. And really, it's just an additional support line for that person, and an additional validation for you that you're not the only one that thrives. There's another person that's thriving along with you that can help answer questions that you might not be able to answer. If you're new, it's an even more perfect opportunity for you to bring somebody in by saying, I'm new to this. I know I just love these products, but I wanted you to meet my friend Steph, who's been doing this a lot longer, and she will be able to help any questions that I don't know how to answer. And then just leave it at that. If you're, and I don't even like frame up the three-ways either. Like, hey, I'm in the singular message with them saying, hey, I'm going to put you in a message with my friend. No, I just immediately start a three-way message and I start with that introduction. And usually the other person that's being introduced is saying like, hi, I'm happy to help if I can, Can you share that three-way message over here in the chat? I can type it up eventually. Yes. I can say it slower one more time too for you if you're trying to like jot notes down. But so what I say is, hey, Jessica, this is my friend Lisa. She has been thriving a lot longer than I have. And I just want to make sure that you have an additional person that can answer any questions you might have in case I'm unavailable for you. Because the reality is a lot of us are working multiple jobs, or working a job, maybe a part-time job. You got kids. you got a crazy life. Like, obviously your life doesn't just center around the business. Like, you have a life outside of your business, and there are going to be times when you're away from your phone. I would hope that there are times that you are away from your phone. Yes, it does really help. I would hope that there are times that you're away from your phone, because this business isn't intended for you to be glued to your phone and sucked in. It is meant to be worked in the nooks and crannies of your day and be a supplement to your life so that you can have that time freedom in the future. So having that additional person in your three-way message is just to help alleviate. I mean, don't just like throw somebody in there and then forget about them and not answer and expect whoever you put that three-way message in with to do all the work for you. If you're new, it should be a learning experience. Like, you should be copying some of the things they're saying, maybe, or taking notes, going back and forth so that you're involved actively in the conversation too. But they're so important for closing, especially if you're not confident in that sort of thing. You can borrow somebody else's belief, because typically when you're putting somebody into a three-way message, yeah, don't get into one and just leave the person. But when you're putting someone into a three-way message, typically that person is maybe a lot more experienced than you. And maybe your belief or your confidence just isn't there yet because you haven't experienced enough conversations. Maybe you haven't seen the level of success that you would like to yet. Or maybe you just, like somebody else said on here, like, you just don't know what to say. That's what that other person is there for, to help with that belief, to help with that confidence, and to help you learn and grow as a person. I think there is this stigma around three-ways that like I said, that you're just trying to close a sale and bring the manager in, and really it's just a support line. So when I wanted to talk about our seasons in our business too, because I know for my team personally, I've had people saying, like, I'm in a rut. I'm just not signing anybody. I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over and over again. And you can never share your story enough, first of all. But second of all, we all go through seasons in our business. And there are seasons of harvesting. There are seasons of planting and reaping and all that stuff. And I feel like when it's easy for us to compare our season with other people's, maybe you're other friends with other thrivers, or maybe you follow the fan page and you're seeing pictures and people have PPAs of like 15 or 20, but you don't know that what season they were in before that. Maybe before right now they were in a planting season and they just decided to not give up. It is so important that when you're in your planting season, because we all experience it, every single one of us. Lisa experiences it, everyone, and myself included. Story making, I'll talk about that too. So everyone experiences these seasons, and it's so easy for you to get defeated in your season of planting because you're assigning your success on how many people you're signing. You're assigning your success on how many people you're signing, and your success needs to look different in different seasons. If you're constantly basing your success on how many enrollments you have, then you're gonna get frustrated. Then you're gonna slow down. Then you're gonna lose motivation, because nobody is on a high all the time. There are ebbs and flows of our business. And if you're not staying consistent in your planting season, then when your harvesting season comes, because we all know, those of us that have been in this business or even this industry for a period of time, know that when January, February, and March comes along, that's usually a season of harvest for us. But if you're not putting in the groundwork during this planting season in the October, November, December months, your harvest isn't going to look like what you want it to look like because you didn't put the work in the background. So when I am in a season where I feel like maybe my enrollments have dipped a little bit, my PPA isn't as high as I would like it to be, those are the times that I'm focusing on building relationships. Those are the times where I'm increasing the amount of people I'm adding to my network. Those are the times that I'm talking about samples a lot more, because I know if I can get the products into people's hands, then they will fall in love with it, and therefore they will start buying, and that will lead into my harvest season. But if you are feeling frustrated because you're not having enrollments like you're used to, or like you had last month or the month before, and you're like, I'm sitting at a PPA at 0, this just isn't working, and you like throw your hands in the air and give up, then that success that you're longing for with the reaping season isn't going to happen, or it's going to happen much slower than you would like it to. So when you're in the season of planting, make sure that you are still adding to your network every day. Make sure that you are still having conversations with people in your Instagram, in your Facebook, you're doing interactive posts, like stay on top of those things, because I can tell you that motivation does not last. Motivation isn't something that we wake up with every single day. We're not just like, yes, I can't wait to add people to my network. Yes, I can't wait to interact with 20 people today. There's sometimes when you're like, I just want to stay in bed and I don't want to talk to anybody. We all experience those times. I think it is Mel Robbins that uses this phrase where she says, motivation is garbage, because it's true. It's just like anything. You're not always motivated to eat the best. If you're on like a health and wellness journey, you're not always motivated to eat the best. You're not always motivated to work out every day. Let's be honest. You're not always motivated to play with your children every day. You know what I mean? So why do we expect ourselves to be motivated all the time in our business? Like, we expect to just be on fire every single day, and that just watching this motivational YouTube is going to give me the fire I need. And we're all waiting for that one moment to like spark our motivation so that we can have permission to keep going. When in fact, what you need to adapt is discipline. Discipline. So that means doing the stuff even when you don't feel like it. That was my daughter. Doing stuff when you don't feel like it. The difference between the 1%ers and the 99 is that the people that are 1% just kept doing it even on the days where they didn't feel like it. Even on the days when life punched them in the face. Maybe their kids were fighting. Maybe they lost a job. Maybe they're having an argument with their significant other. Maybe it's that somebody left their team. Maybe one of your customers is pissed off because their auto ship went and they swear they didn't, they canceled it or whatever. When those things happen to them, instead of allowing themselves to sit in that pity or sit in that zone, they just said, I still just got to get up and do the things, even though I might not feel like it right now. It's that dedication. I know consistency is a word that you hear so much that probably makes people want to throw up when they hear it, because they hear it so much. But it is the one thing that will keep your business going. I'm going to take a drink of water. I read this book called The Slight Edge. It's probably one of the best books I have ever read about, because it talks about why are there certain people that maintain their success while other people might get a glimpse of success and then it's like they almost fall off the face of the earth. And the difference is when you get into a place where you're uncomfortable. So it's much like when you first started the business, like there was something in your life that made you uncomfortable, that made you want to do a shift. So for me personally, that was like driving an hour to and from work, not knowing how I was going to put gas in my car sometimes. That was my point of breaking, where I was like, I have to reach out to Stephanie because I feel like crap and I can't make ends meet. And it looks like what she's doing is working for her. So I reached a breaking point and reached out to her. And then when you reach that breaking point, like you're willing to do all the things, right? Like think about the people that come into this business and they're just on fire and they're like doing all the things. They're taking your direction. They're doing everything that you ask. They're adding to their network. They're sharing their story. They're messaging people. They're talking to their friends. The Slight Edge, Jeff Olson. Yes. So they're coming in on fire. And so what is that doing? That's taking you from this position and it's launching you up to this point of success. So if you're wondering why some people might come into your business on fire and then all of a sudden you're like, where did they go? This is what happens. So they have this point of breaking, I suppose you could call it. And then they're willing to do all the things to make them successful. So then they reach a point in success. What happens at that point is one of two things. Either you're like, I'm good now. So then you start to decline a little bit because you're not doing as much as you used to. You're not adding to your network as frequently. You're not engaging with your audience as much. You're not stepping outside of your comfort zone because you got to that point, especially like when you set goals. Sometimes you get to that point where you achieve that goal that you set. So then you're like, I'm just going to coast. And you stop doing all the things that got you up to here. So then what happens is you start sliding. Well, the difference between the people that start sliding downwards and the people that excel and get to the point of success that we all want to be at is that those people, once they reach the point, they don't stop. They keep going. And they're just doing the little things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I think we all expect to hop on to like a Zoom, or I know this is what my mentality was at first when I was seeing these people come in and they're like exploding and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why am I not having that same success? I think when you're hopping on these Zooms or you're talking to an upline, you're like, what are they not telling me? What's the secret that they're not telling me? Like, what is this secret sauce they're not telling me? Because I used to think that. Like, why aren't they sharing their tips of how they got so successful? Like, we're always waiting for that, like, one piece of thing that once we start doing it, then all of a sudden we're going to be the ones that are successful. Like, we're hoping to grab that information on a Zoom when in fact, it's just that they're doing the everyday tasks every single day and they're not stopping. And they might amplify it at times. Like when they are in a planning season, they might amplify their actions. And that's why they have the success. It's because they kept going when you stopped. And that's the difference. That's the slight edge, is doing the things over and over, even when you won't want to, even when there's a blizzard outside, even when your kids are fighting with each other, even when your husband pisses you off, even when there's somebody in your job that's being a jerk, even when somebody that you thought would do so well in your business leaves your team, even when your customer stops ordering on out of ship, even when all those things happen to you, because I know life happens. Like my state just announced another round of shutdowns. I could either be like, oh my gosh, woe is me. My kids are going to be home. How am I going to do this? Working a part-time job, trying to fit in the business and make sure that my kids are doing all their homework. But the difference is my mentality switched. I just need to keep doing the things. I need to figure out a time when I'm going to get this in, because I know that life is going to throw some curveballs at me sometimes. Life is going to throw you some curveballs at times. You're going to go through hardships. You're going to go through situations where like your car breaks down or whatever, and you feel like giving up. Like you get to that point where you're like, I just don't feel like doing this. And you're waiting for that spark of motivation to happen. But it's always inside of you. If you're feeling like you're in a rut or struggling, like I hate those words, but it's true. People get into ruts, they get into situations, they start questioning themselves, especially if you stopped for a little bit. Maybe you're not posting as frequently as you used to. Maybe you aren't adding to your network every day. Maybe you aren't reaching out to anybody and you're like, I just don't know how to start back up again. Share your story. Just start over sharing your story. Don't get into the mindset of fear where you're assigning an outcome to something that hasn't even happened. Oh, what are these people going to think of me now that I start up again? It's as simple as saying, I had life happen to me, but I know these products work and I want to share them with you. Every single day I share my story, a different aspect of my story. I think I've been seeing a lot of questions coming by, like, how can I share your stories so much? So I'm going to try to break it down for you guys the way that I broke it down for my team and that I've heard other leaders talk about. So mine is the rule of fives. So to brand yourself, and I used to think branding myself meant like I had to have a certain color scheme and all that stuff. No, it's just the 5 things about you. So 5 things about you that are non-Thrive related. So that for me is, I am a mom. I have dogs. I am a crazy, crazy football person. Faith is huge to me, and health and wellness is important to me. I talk about meal prepping. I talk about working out, like all that stuff. So those are the things that you can continuously talk about that are non-Thrive related, so that you're building connections with people that are like you, like-minded people. When you're adding to your network, you're looking to add people that are like that from groups. Like for me, for Instagram, I will go to like a large, for me personally, like a large person that has like a faith following, and I'll start following people from there. So that's how you can build connections, with those 5 things for that you are. So picking 5 things, writing them down, and then continually talking about those things on a daily basis, so that you are building trust and relationships and connections with people. 5 reasons why you decided to start the products, or why you continue to use the products. So maybe it's you were that tired mom that argued with your kids all the time. Maybe it's that you did want to lose weight because like your jeans just were not fitting the way they used to, and you're sick of living in leggings all the time, and that's why you started. Or maybe it's that you slept like crap, so you just started on rest. Or maybe it's you needed energy because you drink so many pots of coffee a day. Writing down 5 reasons why you either started the products or why you continue the products and what you love about them. Having those 5 things down. And then 5 things about the business, 5 reasons why you started the business. Maybe it's 5 reasons why you started the business and what you love about it. Or even like 1 of 5 things that you are looking to accomplish with the business, because talking about your future is just as important as talking about what's going on in your life right now. So you have your 5 things, and you're like, okay, so then how do I talk about it? Because my story is so long. There are times that I go live and I'll talk about the person I was before and how Thrive helped me, or I'll talk about the struggles I had before my business and how the business has helped me. But when I'm just creating content on a day-to-day basis, I take one of those 5 things, and this is how I frame it. We learned this at conference. Obviously, we didn't have a conference last year, but the year before, Aaron King was the one that had spoken about this, and I think a lot of us have forgotten about it. And for me, it was truly impactful once I started implementing it. And what that is you're trying to have people picture themselves inside of your story. So what does that look like? Instead of saying I, you will use the word you. So perfect example, today I had a post where I said, and I was talking about the business because I realized my husband and I had ran to the grocery store and we dropped like, yes, the pub method. We had ran to the grocery store and like just dropped $300 without even thinking about it on groceries. And we were just like throwing stuff in the cart. And I thought to myself, that's not what my life used to look like. And there's people that are sitting in that situation that I used to be in, where I was like calculating out how much I could spend on groceries, or like having my kids put things back, or like biting my nails sitting at the checkout, like waiting for my debit card to get declined. Like, oh crap. Like that's how my life used to look like. So how I put that in my post was, imagine going up to the checkout and no longer having to worry about your card being declined. Imagine your car payments coming up and not having to worry about it because it's already taken care of by your company. Imagine not having stress anymore about going to your mailbox because you're no longer getting those collections that used to give you a heart attack every time you open the mailbox. It's about painting the picture for people because they're sitting in that situation. Imagine that you no longer have to break into your kid's piggy bank to get gas money. And if you're not in the position where you feel like you're earning a lot with the business, you can still frame things like this, because what you're doing is A, you're painting a picture for your audience so that they can see something different for their lives. And 2, you're subconsciously changing your beliefs without even knowing it by you painting that picture too, because you're imagining more for your life when you're telling somebody imagine if, when you're speaking that out loud. For the products, you could say like, who can relate to this? Putting on your jeans that you thought used to fit you and now they no longer do. I can relate to that because that's how I used to feel, trying to squeeze into my jeans and then just being like, forget it, and putting on leggings. Or imagine like walking by the mirror and no longer hating your reflection. Imagine coming home from a long day of work and still having energy to play with your children. Imagine sleeping like a dad. It's one of my favorite things because my husband always falls asleep, but people can relate to that. Imagine sleeping like a dad. Imagine walking, or who else can relate to having aches and pains when you're like walking up the stairs or just doing normal things? What if you could live a life where those aches and pains were relieved? That sort of thing, so that you're painting the picture for your audience. I want to go back to one thing quickly, and then I can answer some questions if you guys have some about creating content, but or anything in this. When I talked about if you're not quite in the place you want to be yet, like if you're like, but I don't have success yet with my business, I'm not making enough. I, don't have any physical results that I can share because I haven't lost any weight. Maybe I'm new and I just started the products. So how am I going to share a transformation picture? What I want to tell you is, by you painting the picture of the future, like I was talking about. So if you're talking about things that you want to accomplish, that you want to bring somebody along that journey with you, when you're talking about those things, you're shifting something in your brain. When you're saying, imagine paying off all your bills, that is something that is so important to me, that's why I started this business, was to take away some of that debt. Share your goals out loud, because when you start sharing your goals out loud in your posts, one, you don't feel like you're faking it till you make it, because you're not. You're talking about what you want for your future. And when you start talking about what you want for your future, there is this crazy piece in your brain, and I shared this with my team last night. It's called the reticular activating system. So what that little piece in your brain, the only job that it has is to prove you right. So if you're talking about, I'm in debt, I can't enroll anybody, nobody wants this business, everyone thinks it's expensive, I'm a failure, I suck at this, da 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 da. When you're telling yourself those things, then your brain's like, all right, let's prove her right then, and starts like adapting your behaviors to go in alignment with that because it's comfortable. And when I can tell you, when I first started doing like I am statements and stuff, I'm like, this is so stupid. I am brave. I am enough. I am da da da. But then once I started repeating them enough, I started to feel like I was more confident. I started to feel like I am beautiful. I started to feel like I can be successful, because when you keep repeating it, guess what? That piece in your brain that's called the reticular activating system, its only job is to prove you right. If you're constantly telling it, I am going to be successful, I am going to be successful, all of a sudden you'll start to see success happening, because the pathways in your brain will make that happen. It's like when you buy a new car. Like I have a 2013 Ford Edge that I love. It's got big rims. She's black. She's beautiful. It's like a special edition, sports edition of my car. Never seen it before. Never, ever. The second I got that car, it was like, I swear, I saw it everywhere. And that's because it's your reticular activating system that's actually like seeking out that thing. So when you're telling your brain negative things, it's going to actively seek out reasons why you're right. It's going to actively sabotage you. If you're telling your brains positive things, uplifting things, things that are going to move you in the right direction, all of a sudden your brain's going to start heading that way. So I hope this was helpful for you. I don't know if Lisa, you wanted to add anything. I think I'm kind of like going along. I see damn Ford everywhere. I know. Lisa, do you want to add anything? Or anyone that's on, I guess, Chas, anybody? Steph?
Give me something, Megan, but I can't hear because we keep cutting in and out. So no, I can't add anything because I'm afraid I'm going to lose you.
I don't know what time it is.
We're on this dang hayride. You know what that's like.
You picked a really good time, right? Anything else that anybody You're so welcome. If anybody has any questions, anything like that, content related, I can answer a few questions before letting you guys go. What about all those potential customers think it's too much? What about them? Hey, are you talking about me? I know, that's the point, because when I started adapting and doing that form of like sharing my story, I would get messages from people that are like, I swear you were talking about me. And I was like, ha, because you're adding people to your network that are like you. So then when you start sharing your story and you're saying you instead of I, then people actually think you're talking like them. So. All right.
Hey, Megan.
Yeah.
Jacqueline.
Hi.
So I think the question, I think the question was missed. So she wanted to know, what do you say to a potential customer if they come back and say it's too expensive?
It's too expensive. So I actually frame my whole conversation from start to beginning way different. I don't come into it thinking they just have to get the 3 steps. So this is how I will do it. If somebody is expressing interest, I'll try to go slow so you guys can take notes. I do have a graphic that I can share in the Dream Team page that I created as well that kind of guides you through a conversation. So, and I know Kayla does this too. Kayla Fox does this too. Like, let's say somebody's interested. They say like, I'm interested on one of your posts, or like send me more info, or they come into your inbox and they're like, I'd like to know. What I do, the very first question I ask them, what has you interested? Because my objective is always to learn more information about them than I am giving them. I want to know as much as possible about them because I want to make sure my recommendation is in alignment with them. It helps them really see how this is going to be beneficial to them. Basically, I'm just trying to solve their problem is my thing. I'm not trying to like peddle 3 steps into everyone's hands. I am trying to figure out how can I be the solution for them. So I'll ask them, what has you interested? Are you looking for more energy? Are you looking to lose weight? Are you looking to sleep better? Like, are you looking to help with your mood? Like, I ask them a question, allow them to answer. So like, let's say they're like, I want to lose weight. Like, I need to get into this dress for this thing or whatever. Then I ask them, do you feel like your weight loss is more like you don't have energy to be active? Or do you feel like it's a metabolism thing? Or do you just really want to eat all the things and your appetite is out of control? Allow them to answer. So they'll say like, my appetite is out of control. And then I'll ask them, is it an all day thing? Do you feel like there's certain times a day that you snack more? Like, I just want to ask clarifying questions. So if they're like, I just snack all day. And I say, perfect. Do you have a specific amount you're looking to spend every single month? You guys, we have so many products that can be used singularly. I said that right, I think, to help them with whatever problem they have. If they're looking to lose weight, you can do Sculpt, you can do a treat meal, we can fit any budget. And you will be surprised when you're asking them, what are you looking to spend every single month? And they're throwing out like, let's say sometimes I get it when they're like $200 and I'm like, well, perfect. Then I have the best solution for you. It's right within your price range. It's our 3 steps, It's going to help you with that appetite control that you're looking for. So inserting what they told you is important to them. If they come back and they're like, I can only spend $40, you're like, perfect. I have 2 different options for you. One that's within your price range, and that will help you with results. One that's a little outside of your price range, but it will accelerate your results. And A is this one, B is this one, or whatever, and allow them to answer. Sometimes if they can only afford like Balance or something like that, I will send them like a 1-day sample of the 3 steps just so that they can truly be bought into like how amazing you can feel with all the products. And sometimes people are just throwing up a smoke screen because they're unsure of what you have to offer is really going to work for them. So sometimes I'll just throw them a 3-day sample or a 1-day sample for free if they're ordering one product. So I hope that was helpful. I will post that sheet that I have made up so that you guys can kind of see like a flow of how that conversation can go for different things. But yeah, perfect. I don't want to keep everyone all night long.
Megan,
I
you
hope
rock that, dude. Seriously. No, we were all listening on the hayride, but I kept, my service kept going in and out because we were on the back roads. But your last, when you just gave advice on like, what do you say when it's too expensive? Seriously, you guys, like, we all get that. I get that. I just don't focus on that. It's just like, okay, they're not ready. But one thing that I love that you just said is you don't just jump right into the price. You start asking them questions. You like figure out, what does this person need and why do they need it and how can our products help them? Don't just automatically think everybody needs to be on the Thrive experience. I mean, everybody does, but they may need more or they may need something different to start with. So ask those questions, care about people. And then I like to, one of the things I always tell people is start high. Like the problem is so many people are starting low because they're scared of the price. So they're going, okay, well, we have balance and then they're taking 25 bucks off of that and they're getting like $25 orders. And it's like, you're underestimating people. Start high and then it gives you places to go, like, hey, I think, from everything you told me, I have the perfect package for you. I can customize a package for you. The perfect package would be the Thrive Experience plus Balance and Sculpt. That's going to be $250 a month. And if they say, well, I wasn't planning on spending that much, then say, well, the second package that we could do is we could just do the Thrive Experience. Usually when you go from a high number like that to like 150, they're like, oh, okay, I'll do 150. Like, it's all about really timing for people, but start high. Stop, like, everybody's always so scared of that price, and it's mostly us. People did not message anyone on here. If they're sending you a message asking you about these products, none of those people thought this was free. None of them think you sell a free product, okay? They're not stupid. So if they're in your inbox saying, hey, what is this? Tell me more. This is what I'm looking for. They already know there's going to be a cost attached to that. And all you have to do at that point is give them options. Okay, look, I know what I have is going to help you. Here's the packages that we can do. This is the first one. This is the best one. This is the one I would start with because it's going to take care of all your issues. But if you can't start there financially, then we can customize something to fit your budget. Tell me what your budget is. What are you willing to put into sleeping better at night, losing 10 pounds, and better mood support like you just told me you wanted? What are you willing to invest? $75? Okay, then we can start here. Can you do 100? Because if you can do 100, I can at least get you on two of the steps, the two steps that are really going to start getting you going. So you guys, it's all about start high. Give them that high number always with what you think they need to be on. Sometimes it is just the Thrive Experience. Sometimes it's the Thrive Experience with Activate and Rest. Who knows? Whatever you're thinking. Start high. They're going to say, oh, that's a little pricey. Okay. Well, what is your budget? Let me customize a package for you. What are you willing to do? And if they give you a low budget, you say, okay, well, here's the deal. With that budget, we can't tackle everything right now. So what is the most important thing that you want to start with? Is it your sleep, or is it the mood support, or is it the weight loss? Which one are you wanting to start with? What matters to you most? Customize something. You guys, we have freaking 20 different products with Le-Vel. All of them can get somebody started on their journey. And I love what you said, Megan, how you send them out. Let's say they start with just Balance or they start with something. I do that same thing. I always send them the Thrive Experience, because if I get them on Balance or Rest or, gosh, quite a few of our products that they can see results right now, and I get them a 3-day mini in the mail, they're usually like, okay, I love Balance. She's so right. A week later, my tummy looks flatter. She sent me this 3-day sample. I tried that and I felt a difference. I'm ready to invest in that now. Like, now that they actually believe you because of this $25 product or this $50 product, and you're so smart by sending that sample because you've given them a taste, right? Now they know, when 8 out of 10 people feel something in 3 days of being on the Thrive Experience, now you're in their ear like, hey, I know you're loving being balanced? Did you try that 3-day sample I sent you? Girl, if you were feeling that in 3 days, can you imagine what you would feel in 4 weeks? We've got to get you on this. And it's so crazy how that person that told you, I don't have enough money for that, suddenly has the money now that they're seeing results. So just start somewhere. And like, I just wanted to add that because I mean, I love everything you said. It's all perfect. But at the end of the day, what drives me nuts about the people on this team is, and every team in every business, is we all say the same thing. Oh, it's so expensive. And everybody thinks it's so expensive. And we're all so scared to mention the price. People sense that. They absolutely sense when you think it's expensive. And you say things, you guys all allude to it too. You'll say things like, well, it's a little pricey, but it's so amazing. It's going to make you feel like $1,000,000. You guys just planted in their head that you think it's expensive too. Or you're saying things like, well, I thought it was expensive too, but after being on it a couple months, it really changed my life. People don't care about that. It's all your wording. So jump right in. Oh my God, you're not going to believe how inexpensive it is. You're not going to believe how great you're going to feel for such an inexpensive cost. Share, the $5 a day. It's only $5 a day to be on all 3 of these steps. And I don't know, how many Starbucks you buy a day, or how many Red Bulls you were drinking, or how many times you stopped at the gas station for a Mountain Dew, but I was spending well over $5. So this is actually saving me money. It's all about how you're saying it, your confidence going into it, and give people choices. Give people those choices of, I will customize something for you, but always start high, super high with what the ultimate package you think that person needs to be on after they gave you their story, sharing exactly what they want. If you could put them on the exact products you wanted to put them on, what would they be? What does that cost? And then share with your discount. Well, it's normally going to be $250, but I'm giving $50 off today, so you're going to get that for $200. So share those little deals in there and just be confident about it. Be so confident about it. All your stuff. I'm so glad this is recorded because you gave so many really, really just good self-development tips in the beginning of this too. And I loved it. I loved it all. I'm excited that you did this tonight because I would have been so screwed, Megan. I was on a hayride. I was so screwed. And you guys, I'm sure you all got some great tips. And it's so nice to hear someone else's voice other than mine sometimes, and Stacy's. Me and Stacy were usually doing this call every Thursday, and Danny's chiming in. And I mean, we hear some from the same people sometimes. It's so nice to get a different perspective. And we're going to be doing more of that on this call for sure. So I'm so glad that you kind of kicked it off, Megan. And I love your heart. And I can't wait to be in another retreat with you. It was so fun.
Amen to that.
Hurry. We need to all go to where are we going? Cabo, Cancun, somewhere. We all need to earn this dang trip, guys, because these trips are so stinking important. And just to get around like-minded people, don't give up on that chance. And they never know. Sometimes they open up spots for 4K. So even if you're 4K, aim for it. Get those customers and promoters in the system. That way, if Lavelle drops a bomb and says, look, we've got some spaces left, we're going to start throwing them out to 4Ks. They have done that before, guys. Absolutely. So work for it, and don't give up, and do your best, because we're in a season where you talked about this a little bit tonight, Megan. It's not always sunshine and rainbows, and we're in a season that literally is what a lot of people say is slow, and that's up to you. You being personally slow is 100% up to you. You don't have to sign people into this company and to be slow, right? Like, that's where people say I'm slow, because they're not signing someone. You guys, I go a month sometimes and I haven't put anyone in the system, but I'm never slow, because that whole month I was planting seeds. I was preparing for that next month or the next month or the next month. And sometimes the seeds we're planting today don't sprout till next week or the next month or 6 months from now. So just make sure that you're always doing the right actions. And I was just telling somebody tonight, everybody's in for a huge, crazy ride, because we are running into January, February, March, April, May, June, our biggest months in the business in network marketing. No matter what company you're in, those are the huge months. And what people don't get is we are going to, right now, people are penny pinching. If there's a little uncertainty in the country, They're afraid their states are going to be closed down again and their jobs might be closed down and they're penny pinching. They really are. And so because of that uncertainty, they're a little bit scared. But what people don't realize is when 2021 comes and we start to drift out of this, COVID era and all of the things happening with the country and the election, as those things start to get better and pass, and they will, people are going to start joining us like they've never joined us. Like most of you that have been in 3, 4, 5 years into network marketing, they're going to start joining us by the droves like you've never seen. And the reason why is because once that uncertainty is gone, they're going to think about this time and they're going to think, I need a plan B. Like, I need a backup plan in case something like COVID ever happens again and I can't go to wait tables and I can't go to work because they closed my job down, or I have nothing to deliver, so I couldn't drive truck, or I couldn't go be a maid at this person's house because they lost their job and couldn't afford me. Like, they are going to look, and I promise you guys, I went through that recession back in 2008, 2009 when I joined network marketing, and it was the biggest year, the 2 biggest years network marketing in the history of network marketing all companies have ever seen. And it's because the country went through a recession. History is going to repeat itself with this. Right now, we just all have to stick together. I was talking to one of my girlfriends that she's in Modere, and then I have another friend that she does Lime Life, and then I have another friend that, and we kind of meet up, once a month, just chat and, complain to each other because we're in different companies and we're kind of like sideline support, but different companies. And another one of my girlfriend does Scentsy, and they were all saying, oh my gosh, it sucks right now. It's so bad. Like, and I was trying to explain to them, it's going to turn around. It always does. Right now, if I wasn't in network marketing and I was still waiting tables, the last thing I would be doing is spending any money anywhere. I would be saving every single dime because I would be afraid that next week they were going to tell me I couldn't go to work. That's what's happening. So, it's not Lavelle. It's everything everywhere in this country right now. But next year, 2021, it's going to be a year that a lot of you guys look back on and go, holy crap, that's the year that everything changed in my business. That is the year that I skipped 5 levels. That's the year I went 200K. That's the year that started the course for the rest of my life, that changed our life forever. And it will be next year. It's going to be after this stuff starts to pass. And I'm so excited about it. Like, I am stoked because I already know what's coming because I've already lived through it. Y'all just have to trust me on this and know that it is coming. And right now, the best thing you guys can be doing is just being there for everyone. Planting seeds. How are you? Are you still keeping your job? Is there anything I can do to help your family? If you ever need to talk, I'm here. Checking in with people because they're going to remember you when they start looking for that plan B when all this blows over. So that's my best advice to you guys. And I'll tell you what, it's coming. So those of you that are going to weather the storm, stick it out and plant those seeds. Wait until next year. You're all going to be messaging me like, oh my God, you were so right. Like, it's happening. It's happening right now. And it's going to get super exciting. So it's never been a better time to be a part of network marketing. We are so stinking blessed. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at so many of my friends and family that aren't in network marketing complaining about, oh my God, what if my job's not here? What if the country closes down? And I'm like, wow, when I went through COVID, I didn't see a pay cut. In fact, I saw more people looking to make extra money. Like, I can't believe how blessed this team has been and what the storm we just weathered when so many people were in such an uncertain time. I didn't go through that uncertain time, and several of you didn't either. So that is huge, like huge. And if you're not out there right now wanting to share that passion for us knowing what we have our hands on and wanting to share the passion that, look, we didn't suffer. We didn't suffer through that because we had this plan B in place. Huge. I mean, some of you guys, I got messages from you telling me that you kept your lights on. And if you didn't have Lavelle, you wouldn't have been able to put groceries in your fridge. And thank God that you were able to just do the bare minimum because you had this little backup plan, that you made an extra $500 a month through Lavelle, and how it saved you through COVID. So many cool stories. What we have our hands on is amazing, and just keep planting those seeds. Megan, you're awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. And we'll get the recording out after this when Danny gets a chance to download it. And appreciate you as always, Danny. And we're gonna get off here. And Danny, I'll message you when we get off here. Love you guys. Have a good night.